Hogwarts Legacy should have been an easy win, an expansive RPG with a generous budget that could finally bring the wizarding world to life in a video game. But after 60 hours, I realized something was missing. Hogwarts Legacy revelioed itself as a game of contradictions. Spotting an ancestor of a beloved character, learning new spells, mapping out Hogwarts in my head, these were the moments that kept me hooked for over 65 hours. But I couldn't help wondering why these places I've grown to love from the books and movies felt so lifeless. Why couldn't I always have a companion by my side? Why couldn't I participate in grand feasts or other festivities as the seasons changed? And most importantly, why, in a world that warns so strongly against dark magic, could I cast unforgivable curses with zero consequences? It's like being handed the most beautiful broomstick in the world, only to realize it flies in straight lines. Hogwarts Legacy perfectly captures the look of the wizarding world, but not the life of it. My name is Paul, this is Load and Behold, and today we're exploring why Hogwarts Legacy is a double-edged wand. Can we talk about Harry Potter, the wizarding world, without talking about J.K. Rowling? I ask because Hogwarts Legacy reignited the debate over separating art from artists, as J.K. Rowling's trans-exclusionary views have deeply complicated her legacy. While the game was developed without her direct involvement, she does benefit from its financial success, which has led many to question whether supporting it endorses her beliefs. Some critics argue the wizarding world itself reflects problematic themes too. House elves portrayed as happy slaves, goblins which could be perceived as echoing anti-Semitic tropes, and limited female agency with some of the characters. Many, like myself, believe that the story belongs to the fans, not just the author. So, did you pause or did you purchase when it comes to Hogwarts Legacy? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Alright, with that in mind, I'm both a new and returning fan of Harry Potter. When I was a kid on vacation with my family, we went to see the first movie in theaters. Since I hadn't read the books, I remember being both surprised and terrified when Professor Quirrell suddenly turns to dust. Over the years, the buzz around the movies was electric. Fans would see them 5 times in theaters dressed head to toe in wizard robes. As usual, I missed the hype window. But as I got older, I began to appreciate the movies more. In fact, I revisit them every year when the temperature drops, like end of summer comfort food. I was never much of a reader though, but lately I've been enjoying the audiobooks read by Jim Dale, which, to Reddit's apparent dismay, I prefer over the Stephen Fry versions. Either way, my appreciation for this world has only grown. So when Hogwarts Legacy promised to finally let me live in the Scottish Highlands, I jumped in headfirst. The stage is set with a simple but intriguing premise. Taking place about a century before Harry's time, you arrive at Hogwarts as a 5th-year student with a rare ability to harness ancient magic, a power an evil goblin named Ranrock is also trying to control. Alongside your mentor, Professor Fig, you're tasked with uncovering the secrets of this ancient power before Ranrock can use it to destroy wizardkind. At first, the story had me hooked, but as it unfolded, it started to fall into uninspired good versus evil tropes. I soon began to realize the real magic was found in the friends I'd made along the way. Let's take Sebastian, a Slytherin student you meet in Defense Against the Dark Arts. You end up becoming friends, going to dueling club together, and meeting his ally Ominous, a descendant of Salazar Slytherin. Without giving too much away, Sebastian recruits you for a deeply personal quest to help his sister Anne, who's been trapped under a terrible curse. The stakes become intensely emotional and rise well beyond what I expected. I felt genuinely invested in helping him, and his storyline explores moral complexities too, like loyalty, desperation, and the cost of power, things the main narrative never dared to approach. This is one of my biggest frustrations with Hogwarts Legacy. The writers can clearly tell nuanced emotional stories, so why is the main quest so bland? You'll see the ending coming a mile away, but I bet you won't predict where Sebastian's story goes. At the end of the day though, we're here to be students at Hogwarts. Astronomy, beasts, charms, and divination are just some of the classes you're expected to attend. The professors are bursting with personality too. The potions teacher, for example, gives off a Snape-like intimidating aura, but classes rarely exceed glorified tutorials. You're usually learning a new spell, getting a potions recipe, or being introduced to some creature management mechanics. Even still, I looked forward to everyone, and with herbology in particular, you'll experience the same mix of surprise and anguish you see in the movies when you have to harvest a mandrake. Some might call this cheap nostalgia, but I found it grounding. These are scenes I'd only ever watched or read, and now, even if just for a moment, I could experience them firsthand. Unfortunately, that illusion of being a student shatters the moment you return to your common room. You can't share the news of the day with any classmates, join them for dinner in the Great Hall, or even sit down next to them and pretend to chat. It's a museum, beautiful to look at, but lifeless to live in. Credit where credit is due, though. Hogwarts Castle and its grounds are the most beautiful museum I've ever seen in a video game. Ghosts fly around, pestering students. Portraits drape the stone walls, and enchanted suits of armor duel in the hallways. You can discover secret passages too, visit the library, or climb to the owlery. It's everything you'd hoped Hogwarts would look like. The areas around the school can be equally alluring, if not a bit empty. Hogsmeade, for example, has you visit Ollivander's to customize your wand, a welcome but expected story beat. But try to visit Zonko's for candy, or grab a butterbeer at the Three Broomsticks, and you realize you can't interact meaningfully with anyone or anything outside of a few specific quests. Don't look too closely at the patrons either. They appear rather lifeless. There's more to explore beyond Hogsmeade, like the Forbidden Forest, which does remain immensely scary, and there's also hamlets dotting the landscape. But once you've seen one, you've seen them all. Some quest givers bring these areas to life, and one hamlet even features some great environmental storytelling. But by and large, every citizen feels like an extra on a movie set. Maybe that's why there's so many collectibles. The game is trying to distract you from its skin-deep scenery. It's cool the first time you chase a flying key, but the 16th? And that constant ping from Revelio every time you're trying to find a field guide page, it drives me insane. It's like being sent into a frenzy when your phone alarm goes off when you didn't expect it to. There's no doubt in my mind, without the Wizarding World license, Hogwarts Legacy would have been met with a much more mediocre reception. You might find some temporary relief decorating your room of requirement. This is where you upgrade your gear, decorate your vivarium, brew potions, and talk to Deke, your house elf. It's a charming hub, but it also highlights the game's tedious core mechanics. Loot is everywhere, in chests, camps, and as quest rewards. But you quickly realize, once you unlock the spindle and can apply enchantments to any item, stats become mostly meaningless. Gear becomes less about being actually good and more about looking good. Even legendary pieces offer no transformative gameplay changes. And to upgrade that gear, you'll need beast resources. There are more than a dozen magical creatures to capture or rescue, depending on how you look at it, across the world. You feed and brush them to harvest materials like fwooper feathers, toadworts, and unicorn hairs. It's cute at first, I'll admit, but eventually it adds to that mile-wide, inch-deep feeling. The worst part, though, is throughout all of this, you're alone. Outside of specific quests, no companions join you on your adventures. No other students fly beside you on broomsticks. And when the seasons change, the Great Hall fills with decorations, but there's no great feast to join in. And where's the Quidditch? For a game about being a student at Hogwarts, it often feels like you're the only one who isn't a mannequin. Combat mirrors this duality perfectly. When it clicks, it's fantastic. Chaining spells, pulling enemies in, turning them into explosive barrels, striking them with ancient magic. You start weak, but once you unlock more spells and level up, you can absolutely wreak havoc. You get 4 active spell slots, and while you can swap loadouts, fights often demand more variety than your palette allows, which can make battles feel like awkward menu management rather than spectacular wizard duels. And once you brew some battle potions, even infamous foes get obliterated. Combat can be avoided though through stealth kills or invisibility spells and potions. Performance is another frustration. For how beautiful it looks, the game often struggles to keep up. Simply walking through the streets of Hogsmeade can tank the frame rate, even on lower settings. Navigating Hogwarts itself can trigger stuttering or loading screens between certain doors. I also played a bit of this game on my Steam Deck, and while it can hit 40 FPS occasionally, it dips far below that in areas with a lot of density. The art direction is breathtaking, but the game clearly needed another optimization pass. And yet, despite all of this, I can't say I hated my time with Hogwarts Legacy. It's comforting, even awe-inspiring, to live inside this world we've imagined for decades. The music complements the journey perfectly. It feels like a natural extension of the movie score, and I still find myself listening to it outside of the game. Ultimately, Hogwarts Legacy rarely rises above being a beautiful recreation of a world we already know. It leans heavily on nostalgia, and while it has plenty of flaws, I think for fans of the Wizarding World, it's a must-play. Just wait for a sale and temper your expectations. Maybe a sequel will let us actually live, not just look inside Hogwarts. Like and subscribe if you can, and as always, thanks for watching.